My humble salutation at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Lord and Master, the Veda Purusha, the Veda Mata, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Dearest brothers and sisters, thank you so much for joining today for this very first orientation webinar for the Atirudra Mahayagna Ritviks. We are extremely grateful to Swami for giving us this opportunity for this satsang. As all of you know, we are all going to participate in this prayer for universal peace next year in April. It's an immense privilege to be a small instrument in this divine prayer. Over 200 devotees from 14 countries have registered to come together, independent of caste, creed, religion, gender, age, or any affiliation, to be part as Ritwiks and chanters for this prayer. In my limited understanding, the word Ritvik means the one who offers sacrifice in the yagna. What is the real sacrifice that we have to offer? What type of instrument do we need to be such that Lord chooses us to be part of this prayer as a Ritvik? Surely, being able to chant mantras with good pronunciation and intonations cannot be the only criteria. So today, let us go ahead with this webinar and understand what is the role of the Ritvik, of the chanter it entails. Today, as you can see on the screen, we will start with opening prayers. Then there will be a daily sadhana document that has been put together by Uncle Shekhar, who has been a divine instrument in conducting many such yagnas and who is the guiding light for us for this yagna, along with Swami, followed by question and answer sessions and vote of thanks, followed by closing prayers. So without any further ado, I would like to request Sister Tara, who is one of our Ritwik coordinators, to please lead us through the opening prayer. Jai Sai Ram.
Om. 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 Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us all be together. Let us all be nourished together. Let us all work together with great vigor. May our studies illumine our intellects. May we not contradict or hate each other. Om, peace, peace, and peace.
Om Sri Sai Ram, everyone. Thank you, Brother Samarth and Sister Tara, for such beautiful opening of this session on the daily sadhana. And logistics-wise, just to be clear, several of you have joined as participants, and if you wish to ask a question during this session, kindly post it in the chat, and we promise that we will address. Brother Samarth will take a note of those, and he will moderate the Q&A session. And the other logistics is I request that you all be muted, including the participants, the panelists here, and let us try to go through what we're trying to accomplish today is to get an orientation around the sadhana required to be a Ritwik. And there cannot be a better context than this, as what Bhagwan, when Brother Samarth and I were working on this document for the Ritvik sadhana, the Bhagwan, there was a thought for the day posted in Prashanti Nilayam, which was a perfect context and preamble directly from Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba on November 30th, 2023, 3 days ago. I request Brother Kavir to kindly go through us, read this thought for the day posted on November 30th.
Sairam, how should the faculties of the senses and the mind be controlled and guided so that we reach the goal? Bhagwan lovingly reveals today, the body is a chariot. The charioteer is the principle of buddhi or intelligence. The senses are the horses. The reins that regulate and restrain the horses are the manas or the mind. When the mind wavers and wanders, not having stability of purpose, the horses run helter-skelter, endangering even the charioteer, buddhi, the intellect. Speech is an important function of the senses and serves the whims of the mind. So one must control the mind and not pollute it with greed for sense pleasures. Nor should the mind be tossed about on waves of yes and no, of acceptance and rejection, of resolution and hesitations. The mind must act as an associate of the buddhi, speech subserving the mind, and mind subserving intellect. This is the way to bring about prashanti, or supreme peace. And note this, slowly and steadily instruct the intellect to turn towards Atma, speech with mind, mind with intellect, and intellect illumined by the Atma. This ensures you attain your genuine goal. From Swami's Divine Discourse on 23rd November 1984.
Thank you, Brother Kavir. Nothing more needs to be said. What is the context of this sadhana that we are going to do for the Atirudra Mahayajna? Bhagwan has laid it out in totality, not just about chanting, not just about the body, but the totality of how the body, the mind, the senses, and the intellect have to be focused to achieve the purity, the clarity, and the unity within oneself, and the unity collectively to be offering this yajna. And this particular aspect of purity, unity to achieve divinity is the overall purpose and the intent of the daily sadhana, as Bhagwan beautifully explained in that thought for the day that Brother Kavir just read. So, as Brother Samarth already pointed out, I just want to give you all a context. What is it to be a Ritvik in a yajna? How is this traditionally done? To be a Ritvik, which is to sit around the Homakunda, not only do the chanting but also offer havis in the Homakunda, that opportunity is traditionally bestowed only to Brahmins who have received formal initiation into Gayatri Mantra and learning the Vedic hymns and daily practicing their austerities such as Sandhya Vandanam and doing their own rituals of japa and other rituals. And that rigorous daily sadhana is what qualifies an individual to be a Ritvik at the yajna. Let me give you another context of it. I heard from Brahmasri Nanjunda Dikshit, the divine being who is inspiration behind conducting all these Atirudra Yajna, and the very first one in Prashanti Nilayam, in the divine physical presence of Baba. Swami told that even his own students who have such incredible purity and being trained directly by Bhagavan himself, he told them that they cannot be Ritwiks because they don't do this rigorous sadhana as these Brahmins that do to be qualified to be as Ritwiks at the yajna. So in the physical presence of Bhagavan, both in Chennai and Puttaparthi, Swami individually chose the Ritwiks and even underlined or highlighted those that cannot be qualified as Ritwiks because of their health condition or body condition or their daily practices, etc. Now, can you imagine that such opportunity is bestowed upon all of us who are ordinary people that are doing our own jobs, and we have so much of other things going on, and that too independent of caste, creed, religion, gender, age, or even affiliation, whether you are a Sai devotee or not, even doesn't really matter here. To deserve and to receive such full grace of Bhagwan, we must follow this daily sadhana that prepares the body, mind, and the senses for the yajna. And just for clarity, this is what our dearest Dikshit Mama, or who I call Mama lovingly, Dikshit Mama has wrote himself, handwritten note I still have. When I asked him, is it okay to include all these devotees? He said, yes, but they should follow this sadhana. So, what you are actually seeing here is the sadhana that is prescribed by him in 2014 when we first did the Atirudra Mahayajna in Atlanta. And what does this sadhana to begin with entail? The very first one is purity of speech. Purity of speech comes when you have clarity of thought. They are interlinked. Purity of speech comes by constantly and purposefully invoking the prayers on a daily basis and doing them at with reverence and discipline, devotion and dedication. So these daily prayers, the sadhana, as I mentioned before in the previous slide, will begin on December 15th and will conclude on April 12th, 2 days before the yajna. The April 13th and 14th is left open for devotees that are coming from all over the world. And by the way, as brother already mentioned, we are getting Ritwiks from 16 different countries, and these Ritwiks, at least 40% of them are international Ritwiks, and about 60% of the Ritwiks are going to be from within South Africa and within Durban, Cape Town, and other provinces. So when you look at that, so that's the reason why the sadhana concludes on 12th to allow people to travel to Durban. So how do we do this sadhana? Ideally, it is preferred that you do the sadhana same time every day and at the same place. And we request you to join the collective sadhana, which will be done over Zoom every day. And please note, collective prayers are much, much more powerful than you doing that sadhana on your own. If you are a rain droplet, if you fall in a desert, you will not even exist after you fall on the ground. But if the same rain droplet falls into a flowing river, that droplet will reach the ocean in devotion. Therefore, please, I urge all of you to take this to the heart. Don't simply say, I know Rudram, I know all of this stuff. I can do it anytime I want. I don't need to join this Zoom call. It is people that pray together that will stay together. And in order to do this, it is not simply, as Ritwiks, it is not simply important if you just know how to chant Rudram. You also need to learn the Viniyoga, the Nyasa, and the Dhyana. What do those mean? Viniyoga means application. You are opening an app called Rudra Dhyaya, Rudra Prashna. When you open that app, you have to also close the app. Otherwise, it will clutter the system. So Viniyoga means application. When you open the app, it is the purpose with which you open the app. And you have to place the mind where it belongs. And then you have to invoke the meditation associated with that Rudra. And this protocol that is properly followed invokes the entire conscience of Sri Rudram within you individually, and when we all do it together collectively for universal peace. And therefore, if you have to do Viniyoga and if you have to do Nyasa, etc., you have to be seated in a place, preferably at your altar in your own home. Avoid multitasking. Focus on the chanting. Please do not do these prayers while you are driving a car, taking a walk, having a shower, so on and so forth. You are invoking your own self to expand with this Rudranyasa, and therefore it is important that you also do the entire sadhana, allocate certain time, and we will go through what times this sadhana will be offered. It's not going to be at one time. This Zoom calls for collective daily prayers. You have multiple times when you can join during the entire day based on your own work schedule, etc. See, here is an example. Maybe I can request Brother Samarth, you can walk through this.
Sure, Uncle. So Saira Mall, this you see a table. I know it's a busy table, but simply you can see based on your on the top, you see the time zones PST, CST, EST, CET. The explanation is further in the booklet that we will provide. But SAST, for example, is South Africa Standard Time. What you see here are 6 time slots throughout the day where you could join the sadhana. So 2 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 1:30 in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, and 7 o'clock in the evening. There is a Zoom link. You can simply click on the link, which we will provide. And at any of these times, you will be joining the daily sadhana. Similarly, if CET stands for Central Europe time, these are the 6 slots. So, yeah, basically, for all the time zones like Moscow, UAE, India, Australia, and the first 3 are US time zones, Pacific, Central, and I think East. Um, so basically, you can join any of these things. The colors are simply indicating which region is hosting it, which is, yeah, some of the devotees from that region will host that session. But at a certain point, you will see that people from multiple zones might be joining the 6 a.m. sadhana in South Africa because it's 5 a.m. in Europe when it's 6 a.m. in South Africa. So even European devotees may be joining. Someone from Moscow could join at 7 a.m. At the same time slot. So we'll all be praying together as an example. Yeah. Hi, Ramanko.
Thank you, Brother Samarth. So that must be uh, pretty clear to everyone, and we will have committed devotees or volunteers that will open up these Zoom calls on time, and uh, and of course South Africa will host at 2 times, 6 a.m. in the morning and 7 p.m. in the evening. But the South African Ritwiks or devotees can join at 7 a.m. as brother mentioned, which that call will be opened by the hosted by the European devotees. So you will see all of these are opportunities for join, but as I mentioned, use a one consistent time. Try to be consistent as much as possible. Trying to join at the same time at the same place so that you will have that time will be etched for sadhana in your hearts. Okay. Now, when it comes to there is the other aspect of it. All this sadhana, this collective offering, our goal is to do an Atirudra Parayanam, means chanting of Sri Rudram for 14,641 times during this 121-day sadhana period. That means if 121 devotees every day joined this collective sadhana, we will be offering one Atirudra Parayanam. And this is we're going to create a log, and that log, when you log in, all it's like doing Likhita Japam, right? We do the Likhita Japam, Om Sri Sai Ram, and we take all those books of Likhita Japam and we take to Puttaparthi and we offer it to Bhagwan in Puttaparthi. And when you go and do that, the Sevadal people will give you 2 packets of Vibhuti for each book you have completed. We are going to take this daily sadhana log and offer it to Bhagavan's lotus feet in Puttaparthi to seek his blessing. And this is the reason why we are creating this daily sadhana log. And how do you do this daily sadhana log? It's actually pretty simple. We will send you a link, and are you still seeing my screen, Kana? Yes? Everybody seeing my
You can see
screen?
it. Yes.
Okay. So we'll send you a link, and this link is very simple. Your first name, your last name, and what is the date on which you're doing the sadhana. whether you joined the group or you did the sadhana alone, or you are registered Ritvik or not. That's it. It will take less than a minute to complete this. And then all this log sheet, we will combine, assemble it, and offer it to Bhagwan. I just want to be very clear. Nobody is monitoring you. Your own conscience is the monitor. And the purpose of this log sheet is not to judge you, it is to come together and offer it to Bhagwan. We also know that due to some work circumstances or family circumstances or health circumstances, you may be missing the collective sadhana prayers some days. And in such exceptional situations, we have also created a folder where you can actually open a video file, and we will send you a link to that. And this is the daily sadhana folder on the, and then you can yourself do the sadhana opening this video file, and you will be able to, and then log it into the login sheet. Try to every day after the prayer itself complete the login, so that you don't have to remember to do it 4 days later and you forgot whether you joined alone or together. So please make it a simple practice right after the sadhana is completed every day. So that is the daily sadhana. Now, we also are going to create weekly practice sessions. Let me talk about that briefly. As Brother Samarth mentioned, we are very grateful to many of you who have submitted your voice recording of the Anuvakam 4 when we requested you to do so. Again, that was to ensure that we are doing it collectively together and well. And that recordings that we have listened to, and most of you received feedback about those recordings. We need about 170 Ritwiks, but we are not going to finalize who the Ritwiks are, whatever, at this point. What we want to do is everybody who registered as the Ritwiks, please do the sadhana. And based on the input that you have received in the feedback, try to basically um, improve your pronunciations or intonations, etc. Why is that is important? It is important because these mantras are not letters, etc. They are sound, they are actually vibrations. Mantra is a vibration, and that vibration purifies and actually energizes every particle that it comes across. And therefore, what happens is when all the chanting is perfectly offered with pronunciation, intonation, speed, conjunctions, pauses, etc., that's when a perfect sound vibration is produced. We are all at different levels in our proficiency of chanting to begin with. However, there is at least, I would say, at least 60% of the people are in the middle. So we want to help you move to the next level. And to do that, we will have practice sessions every week. We will have a webinar about these practice sessions on December 16th. And you will, the day after we start the sadhana. What we are trying to do is, again, by each time zone, we will create one day, 1 hour of practice session with multiple coordinators that will moderate those practice sessions. We have done this for Charm 2023 and both for Devi Mahatyam and Rudram. And here now there is no Devi Mahatyam, it's only Rudram. And we will have one day allocated, preferably in the evening, maybe 8 p.m. across all time zones. Multiple people that are proficient in chanting will join. They will create breakout sessions, and that those sessions, each of you can chant. And if you need more help with chanting, we will also have one-on-one mentors available to you to help with your chanting. So there is daily chanting, weekly chanting, and then the final one is the monthly sadhana. The monthly sadhana is every month, and this is only 3 dates. Don't get overwhelmed. January 13th, February 10th, and March 16th. On these 3 dates, we will do Maharudra Abhishekam to Omkareshwara and to Saishwara. The Omkareshwara and Saishwara are the primary deities who will be offered all the prayers and worship at the yajna. And Omkareshwara and Saishwara are physically present in Sacramento, Satya Sai Baba Center of Sacramento. So we will have a Zoom call, and on the Zoom call, all of you can join that Zoom call, and we will have a sign up sheet where people from Moscow can take one slot, people from various areas of Durban can take one slot. Like that, we will create 11 slots for people to sign up and chant one cycle of Rudram. Why we are doing this? Number one, this will be exactly the same protocol followed during the yajna. So you will get to know what happens in the yajna between morning 8 o'clock until 11:30, 3 hours of chanting. What happens, you will get familiarity. Number two, we want to create your own groups by proximity and come together and chant together so that you know what is it to chant in a group with the dynamics of speed, pronunciation, synchronicity, etc., etc., just like your bhajan practice sessions. During the yajna, each of these groups will get an opportunity to chant in the microphones with over 700 devotees present at that time. Just like when you offer a bhajan in a regional gab, you go to practice sessions, you need these weekly practice sessions and these monthly group chanting sessions to help you become clear about the logistics, clear about group dynamics, and clear about offering the best as that group during the yajna. And these will be conducted at 8:30 a.m. PST, which will be 5:30 in Central Europe time and 6:30 in South Africa. I know, and we apologize that the devotees all the way from Malaysia and Australia will miss the opportunity to participate in this because of the time difference. We're going to work out with Brother Julius in Malaysia and also the Australian devotees to see if we can actually create a session unique on those dates for the eastern side of the globe. So stay tuned for that with all the devotees from Malaysia, India, etc. So what did we go through so far? This is all about now chanting, right? Daily chanting, weekly practice session, monthly Maharudra Abhisheka. Those are the three related to chanting. Chanting gives purity of speech. What did Bhagavan say in the very beginning? Purity of speech gives purity of thought and clarity of thought. And hence, these are, this is very important daily sadhana. But the sadhana is not just about chanting only. What do we do with the body and the senses, as Bhagavan mentioned in the thought for the day? So, food is responsible for thought, thought into action, action into habit, habit into character. So we really request you all to partake sattvic food, preferably offering to Bhagwan, chanting Brahmarpanam before consuming. No matter where you are, you can even chant it internally if you are traveling on business, etc. Please offer it to Bhagwan with Brahmarpanam prayer and then partake food. Extremely important. You have to stay away from consuming meat, seafood, eggs, dairy, as in milk and cheese, is okay, but not anything that is coming from a living being or has a potential to create a living being. Now, absolutely prohibited is intoxicating the body with smoking, vaping, alcohol, chewing tobacco, and all of that stuff. Completely prohibited. And I humbly request, if you have such habits, please make sure you have the ability to control your sensual indulgence for 121 days as a resolution. And Bhagwan's grace, you will be maybe able to quit it forever in your life. Now, to control the mind, we should control the senses. Only then we will be able to realize God. This is Swami's quote. So we talked about food, conserve time, don't waste time. What do we mean by that? Stop indulgence in watching 3 hours of movies or Netflix episodes, etc. That is actually truly time that is wasted. We are not asking you to become ascetics. These are very simple code of conduct. Sealing on desires is the code of conduct from Bhagwan. Don't waste money. And I will tell you also what you can do with this. What do we mean by wastage of money? If you have a habit of spending $1 or a rand on a Starbucks coffee or a McDonald's, kindly refrain from that. Save that money and offer it to Bhagwan for the purpose of yajna. Save the energy and use all the four for the service of humanity. That's what Bhagwan says. So we go beyond chanting into purifying our body and controlling our senses. And last and most important, yajna is about sacrifice. In the yajna, in the very last mantra of Sri Rudram, we chant Namo Rudrebhyo e Prithivya Anye Tarikshe e Divi. That mantra that you chant is praying to the Rudras who on earth produce the food, who in the atmosphere gives the life energy, and who from up above shower the rains. And to such Rudras I offer my pranams with all my 10 organs of functionality in senses and perception, that is Dasha Prachi, Dasha Dakshina, Dasha Pratichi, Dashodicir, Dashordhvastebhyo, Namaste no mrudayantu teyam dvishmo yaschano dveshtitam vo jambhe dathami. I sacrifice all the tendencies of my 10 indriyas or those that senses, and I offer my salutations to these Rudras who are producing food on earth, life in atmosphere, and rain from up above. Vedas are 100% about synchronicity of Mother Nature with our own inner nature. They are one and the same. Our body, as it is composed of our bones, our skin, our cartilage, nerves, hair, that is the earth element. Our saliva, our blood, urine, the fluids in the body is the water element. The fire which is within that consumes our food, and also our ability to have a passion to do things that moves us as the fire is the fire aspect in within our own body. Our ability to get fear, perverted, fickle minded movement of thought is also associated with the breath. And finally, the space in our body is the space in which we store our thoughts, our memories, our images. Just like we store stuff in iCloud, we store it in the space. If we waste any of those Mother Earth related 5 elements, our body will also be affected by such element. Therefore, avoid food waste, conserve Mother Earth, conserve water by spending much less time in showers, and also recycling water from washing dishes to other purposes like watering plants and so on. Fast periodically. Do not indulge in overeating. Practice conscious breathing. and practice spiritual silence, which is the space and helps with memory. Those are the thoughts I would like to share today about this completeness of the sadhana that we are going to undertake. I know you may have a lot of logistical questions, and I just want to say one thing. By each region and a group of at least 15 to 20 people, we will create coordinators that will work with each of you individually to figure out your travel logistics, your accommodation logistics, so on and so forth. We are not going to discuss those today. What color saree I have to wear and all of that stuff. Those are not the questions we will take today. Those will be, you will have a coordinator working with you on all those aspects and help you move forward. This session is 100% focused on what is the sadhana. And I also want to say one clarification question. Sadhana is mandatory for all the people that have registered as Ritwiks. It is open to all who are not Ritwiks. So I know some of my brothers and sisters within California, they will all actually join the sadhana, many of them. They will also help with the daily Zoom sessions, etc., and also the practice coordination. But they're not coming as Ritwiks because of whatever reasons. And we have two yajna happening, but they will be participating in this. So everybody who has an interest to reform their own life, at least for this next 121 days and moving after that, because what will happen is right after this army concludes, we will have sadhana started for charm. So this becomes a yearly process. After that, there will be sadhana for the yajna happening in Ujjain. So this is a continuous process, and it becomes a continuous process. Everyone is welcome to join. There are people that are in the core team that are not Ritwiks. They will be joining this sadhana, but sadhana is mandatory for the Ritwiks. I will stop there, and Brother Samarth will now coordinate question and
Yes.
answers.
Sai Ram, uncle. Thank you so much. We have, of course, a few questions coming in. I answered some of them. Some of them I think we will discuss. But one clarification, which we did not go through, is the daily sadhana that we talked about. It will be a Zoom session, and in that session, a file will be playing. So just for clarification, you will be chanting on mute along with the file, and the purpose of that file is having a standardized way of chanting. When we come together in April, the idea is that not all of us are chanting differently. So Uncle Shekhar has created that file in which he has chanted, and if all of us listen to it every day and chant on mute, the idea will be that because it's difficult to get together all the time, it's only once a month probably that we can get together locally, that we have standardized way, a similar way of chanting, so that it maintains synchronicity and also the proper stops, pronunciation, intonation. So just for clarification, uh, and now coming to the questions,
One, one,
there's
one
one.
second,
Yes,
one
uncle.
second. Yeah. So with regards to what brother is saying, the there was also we discussed. Then why do we need a Zoom call? Why can't we just play it on YouTube, etc.? And
Yes.
really the reason for that joining that collective session is, as brother mentioned, we want to standardize the chanting. If and this is the file that you all have access to as the daily sadhana file, and you will see that this script has a lot more than what you ordinarily find online. You will see that there is this not only just the swara and the intonations and also the proper IAST characters, but it is much beyond that. You can see there are pauses, there are rectangles, etc. Please do not, we humbly request that you use this file because it's much more comprehensive, and we are grateful to Veda Union, Brother Davor, who created this file. And also you will see at the end of this file, there are there are also multi-faith prayers, which we have included for brothers and sisters coming from all over the world. And that is also part of the recording. I know many devotees do not are not familiar with it, it's mostly chanted in Sai centers in United States. So please take an opportunity to go through that. Is that the, so this is the file, and there is also a 5 a.m. South Africa slot that is usually hosted by Brother Kavir, where all the South African devotees, I believe for the past 2 years at least, at 5 a.m. in the morning, 70 to 80 people join that call where there is a log, etc. And that will still continue, but that is not included in this table because that's where devotees are chanting instead of we are playing a file. Okay, and then we
Right.
will that is, I just want to give clarity around that. Any other? Yes,
Yes.
back to you, brother.
Yes. Yes. So there are a couple of questions on Sattvic food. I think both questions came that does Sattvic food include onion, garlic, and chili, or do we need to exclude that as well? So that is one,
Ah,
and the combined question with that is uh, one of the brothers asking, "I'm vegetarian, and how is Sattvic food different? Is vegetarian food okay, or we must switch to something different as a Sattvic diet?" So two
yes,
questions:
I know
Sattvic food,
food is
garlic, chili, and onion. Does that have to be part?
okay. So let us pure the sattvic food actually eliminates also consumption of especially not chilies because those are excluded for people like me. I'm just kidding. um, Definitely onion and garlic are excluded in pure sattvic food, but we are not pushing you to that level. Vegetarian, regular vegetarian food is fine, and whatever you are but kind, even in the context of, I know many of my brothers and sisters use soy or other vegetarian substitutes. That is also fine. You can be happy with that. Kindly do not eat meat and seafood, eggs, anything that is directly derived from an animal or a potential to create another animal. That is what we are. Because people ask the question, how come milk and cheese are part of vegetarian diet? They are also coming from an animal. Yeah, but they don't create another living being. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram,
We
Sai Ram.
hope that is clear. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So another question was sadhana time conflicts with Dhanur Masa prayers between mid-December through mid-Jan. Sometimes at local temples, is it okay to do the sadhana after the Dhanur Masa prayer during this time? I'm not
We
sure
have
what
multiple
Dhanur
times
Masa
to, I
prayers are.
think,
Yes.
yeah, I think we already answered that question. Finish your Dhanurmasa prayers in the morning and do your daily sadhana prayers in the evening. No conflict.
Then another question is at some point will be good to understand how a day will look like for Ritwik. Uh, I'm assuming that is during the yagna. Yes. How will a
Oh,
typical day will look
during,
like? But yeah,
yeah, that is beyond the scope of this call.
yes,
We will cover that when we come close to the. There is a lot more to cover as these regular Ritwik modules we will create. So we'll come to that next chapters. Not today.
yeah. And then is food in restaurant allowed as veg food if there is a possibility of travel during this period? I think it's
Yes,
mentioned.
100%. Listen, brothers and sisters, we are not trying to turn you into ascetics or rishis. What all we are asking you to do is very simple. Do your daily sadhana, improve your chanting with weekly practices, be part of those collectively, including a monthly Maharudrabhishekam. And when it comes to food, if you are a non-vegetarian right now, refrain from being a non-vegetarian and use vegetarian substitutes if you want to fulfill your organoleptic pleasure of meat eating. You can replenish those with veg substitutes, plant protein alternatives that are already widely available in every market. including vegetarian prawns, vegetarian this, vegetarian that, plant-based protein only, no animal-based protein and eggs. That's all we are asking you to do. Yes, you can go to a restaurant. We're not asking you to only cook and eat at home. Nothing like that is preferred. Okay. If you are at home, please prepare your food, sattvic food, consume it. But if you're traveling and if you have to go to a hotel, you have to go to a restaurant with friends and etc., please refrain from eating meat. And there is no problem at all if at the table somebody else is me eating meat. You in your own body, in your own mind, do brahmarpanam even in a party table and offer it to Bhagwan and eat it. That's all we are asking to do. Nothing complicated. Don't make it complex in your minds. Simple.
Thank you, Uncle. Thank you. I think that's clear. I think this is a good question. Kindly let us know the final selection criteria for Ritwiks.
Yeah.
So I think
So
you can
okay.
explain the
So
logistic that come to
yeah.
later towards the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an important thing, right? Every one of you who submitted your voice recording, pranams, pranams. Thanks to Swami within you. And we know you did it out of your love for Swami and nothing more than that. And with the same loving principle, there was a team of people that listened to every recording, not just me. There's a team of people. And they have also given extensive notes and feedback of improvements. Those are not judgments. Those are not trying to tell you whether you qualify as a Ritvik or you don't qualify as a Ritvik. And some of you, it's not about qualification. Some of you may not have received an explicit note saying you are confirmed as a Ritvik or whatever. What that indicates is that you have to put a little more effort to improve your chanting. And I will tell you very humbly and honestly, that may happen in a week from now. That may happen in a month from now. That may happen instantaneously with the grace of Bhagwan. I myself, personally speaking for myself, I never learnt any Vedic hymns from any physical guru. It is the immense divine grace of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Nothing but that. And that grace can be an instant flash. Therefore, we are not here to pass judgment as who qualifies as Ritvik or who doesn't qualify as a Ritvik. The effort was put to help each other to do our collective best to Bhagwan. Now, practical question. Well, you have 233, whatever number of Ritviks. You only need 170. How are you going to come to that 170? We will cross that bridge when we get there. Because some of you who are not even connected to proper swara intonation, etc., due to this daily sadhana, weekly practices, you will probably come to that level. And some of you who are perfect in chanting, God forbid, due to unseen circumstances, family, health, work leave, whatever it is, may not be able to make it to the yajna. So that bridge will be crossed when we come close, maybe 3-4 weeks before the yajna. Okay. Jai Sai Ram. Please understand, but do not miss the opportunity to be part of the sadhana.
Thank you. Well, and then I see a few comments. I think one of the sister or brother is saying if medicines containing alcohol are used, tinctures, homeopathic medicines in amount of few drops 2 to 3 times a day, that is that okay? I think that's a
I,
suggestion or question, but I think
okay.
that should be
Now,
okay. It's just a
no,
comment.
no, here is the thing, right? I just want to make sure we are saying do not intoxicate the
Right.
body.
Yeah.
Any intoxicant should be avoided. Now, the next question that would be asked, well, if I go to a restaurant, they will use some wine, and Brother Kavir is, is a chef. And if they prepare the food with wine, then what happens? Well, please tell them, can you please make it without fish sauce, make it without alcohol, because that is intoxicating, right? So don't indulge in intoxication, which is impurity of the mind. Yes, of course, We know drops of alcohol are put in homeopathic medicine, or perhaps even to increase bioavailability of a medication. And if you're dependent on it, you're not intoxicating yourself. Okay? Jai Sai Ram.
Yeah. Then I have a nice suggestion from one of the brothers. It says for the first timers to army, it's not easy to chant 11 times. So suggestion, chant 11 times on those 3 days where we have the Maharudra Visheka, which is 3 dates in January. Also practice chanting 11 times at least once a month, or on other than those 3 times, and if time permits, at least once a month. See if you can plan to chant 11 times to build the stamina. I think that's a suggestion. So you can also consider locally meeting and then chanting 11 times apart from those 3 dates that we shared. I think that's a suggestion from
Yeah.
one of the
So
brothers.
here is the thing, right? There are two aspects to that. This 11 times chanting. 11 times chanting, usually just by doing by yourself, will be very tough, especially for the beginners. But in a group dynamic, you will find yourself being part of this flow of energy. And when you are in the part of that flow of the energy, you don't require individual effort to be pushed forward. That's the reason why Veda is done as this Sahapatha, together. Sahanavavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryankaravavahai. All of the prayer that we chant, it's all being part of a collective effort. So don't undertake this sadhana. I already know Rudram. This is 43-minute file. Why do I need to spend 43 minutes? If I can just chant all of this stuff in 20 minutes, I will save 23 minutes. This is monkey mind doing its business. Please understand this. I'm being very clear about this because the monkey mind will play every damn trick to excuse you from this collective sadhana. 100% it will. It is the demon called Mahishasura. It will change and it will play and it will morph itself just to avoid being with the team and collectively. Pay attention to that. That is the most important part of sadhana. Be with the team. Sahanavavatu. Let us be together. Let us work together. Let us learn together. Let us live together. Let us listen together. Let us love together. Let us laugh together. Together. That is what Bhagavan expressed. That is unity. First purity, then unity. Third is divinity. If the first two are there, divinity is purity and unity. Jai Sai Ram.
Sairam, Sairam. And then again, one small food related. Is it okay to consume daily supplements that might contain animal substitute? I guess people might be consuming them for health reasons. Uh,
Arro, Sairam, again, I already answered this question. We are asking you not to intoxicate your body. And we ask you not to purposefully. Here is the thing, right? If you really take how many, this is the reason why you say Brahmarpanam also. Purity of the food that you intake comes because of four factors. One is the material that is used for it. Two, the vessels in which it is prepared. Three, the one who is preparing the food. Fourth, the purity of how such material is obtained. Now, if you pay aspects to all the four of it, you will stop eating food. You don't even know with what mind, with what money somebody went and purchased the material that you are eating. Purity of food also relates to that. You understand the four purities? First, the material purity. Second, the purity of the vessels in which it is prepared. Three, purity of the person that is preparing. Fourth, purity of the money that is used to procure such material. Therefore, what you do, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagnav, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaivatena gantavyam, Brahma karma samadhina. then the God within all of us, by name Vaishwanara, present in our tummy, he is replying, don't worry about all of this stuff. I am the one present in every being that consumes the 4 types of food that you are consuming. Pachamyannan chaturvidham. Chaturvidham. 4 types of food that you are consuming. I will purify it. But you put your conscious effort and you know that the purity of what you are consuming will not meet those 4 criteria. Therefore, in the daily sadhana, before you consume the food, every time offer it to that Vaishwanara, seek his forgiveness for any mistakes associated that food, that you intentionally did not commit a mistake with that food. It is beyond your control and intention. Whatever is in your control and intention is indulgence. I hope I'm making myself very clear. Huh?
Saira, clear, uncle. Absolutely clear. No, absolutely clear. Brahmarpanam is very, very important. Uh, yeah, that's clear.
Yes, Brahmarpanam. Don't say Brahmarpanam because you order meat and then you say Brahmarpanam,
Yeah,
Brahma.
yeah,
No, that's not what we are asking you to
yes. No, no.
do.
Okay.
Yes.
Looking at the time and also uh, questions that are coming up. Maybe the one important one for the lady participants, can they participate in the daily, weekly, monthly sadhana when they are in their monthly menstrual cycle? I think,
Okay. Here is
important
a
to
it is
address.
another very common question. It's a very important question. Is it okay for ladies during their monthly cycle to chant these mantras or not? The answer to that question is yes, it is okay. The answer to that question is no, it is not okay. The yes and no really depends on your conscience. Why is it yes? Why is it no? Let me first say why is it no first. Because if your conscience bothers you that you are impure during that time, okay? If your conscience bothers you that if you are impure during that monthly cycle, don't chant, just do it mentally. Don't chant loud. If your conscience tells you you are impure at that time. Now, what is the yes then? What is the impurity associated with the natural cycle? Rivers like Mother Ganga, Krishna, Kaveri, Tungabhadra, all the holy rivers, they go through a 12-year cycle just like a woman goes through a monthly cycle. And during that 12-year cycle, when the mother's rivers go through menstruation, those are the most auspicious times to take a dip in those rivers. So if Shastra is saying that a river is ultimate purity during a cycle, why is a mother in a human form impure during that time? Why? What is the logic? Again, if your grandmother, grandfather, somebody who is in your family says you are impure at that time, please refrain from all of that stuff. It is not our family tradition. And if you want to abide by that culture and custom and you feel consciously that you are impure at that time, do not chant the Veda mantras at that time out loud. Do it only mentally and do your japa. Jai Sai Ram.
Sairam, Sairam. And then maybe just the last question is someone is asking if there is a death in the family. Uh,
Same
Same
question, same
principle.
point,
Yeah,
same point.
same principle.
Follow your family tradition. Follow what your elders say and do not hurt them by being a revolt against them. I don't care about all of this stuff. I am a pure soul. I'm going to not that. Okay, you have to be very clear. I'm not trying to create a revolt here, but I also am very clearly asking your guidance of conscience. First and foremost, understand why are you doing this? Why are we doing this sadhana? For what purpose are we doing this sadhana? For samasta lokas sukhino bhavantu. For universal peace, you are doing this sadhana. So you, as an individual, body, mind, sense, complex, you yourself are sacrificing all of those tendencies to be a Ritwik and to pray for universal peace. If your purpose and your goal is universal peace, and in love, all the rules, regulations associated with what you have to follow as your own body identification related to your own caste, creed, culture, clan do not apply. However, if your conscience bothers you and you don't want to hurt your family, please follow that, because you still have that body attachment and relationship, etc., etc., and we are not asking you to turn into ascetics. Jai Sai Ram.
Sairam. Until looking at the time, I know there may be a few questions, but I would propose to stop here.
What is
And
the most burning question anybody wants to?
no, there's no burning questions, I
Okay.
think, at the moment. Also being respectful of the time of everyone. Also request everyone, if you still have questions, more questions will come up, so you can always email them to info@vedasforall.org. I'm going to type that in the chat as well. And of course, we will send all this information along with the Word document, which has all the links and timings and the link to the
Yes.
PDF files, etc. It will be sent
Okay.
after the
I
webinar.
think actually it is open. This
Yes,
Army 2024 public folder is open to all. Every one
yes,
of you have access to this.
yes,
And when you click on each of these files, the Army Ritwik Sadhana guidance is already there, and you can try to comprehend this, study this, come back with any questions. Everything that I showed on the slide is captured in this document. There is nothing outside of it. In fact, it is a little more comprehensive than what I showed. I have actually pasted Bhagwan's discourse and links to his sayings on why we should not waste food, etc. So please undertake this, but be clear in your hearts that we are collectively doing this sadhana for universal peace. That is the goal and objective. And we are offering to Bhagwan in love, commemorating his centennial coming up in 2025. That is the context. Okay. In summary, it's very simple. There is a purity of speech, which is associated with chanting. Purity of speech is purity of mind, and purity of senses is purity of mind and body. Therefore, that is the daily sadhana. And this daily chanting is threefold. There is daily chanting, there is weekly practice session to improve your purity of chanting, and then the third, monthly, which bring us together to do Abhishekam, Maharudra and to familiar with. That's all. We are not asking you to do climb Mount Everest right now. And we don't get overwhelmed by this. Don't get intimidated by it. It's very simple. It will require some discipline of 1 or 2 weeks. And once you get into that, I will tell you, you will get addicted to that. You cannot but get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do your prayers. It becomes, your system gets a, you don't require, remind me, my Lord, who I am. You don't even require an alarm clock. Lord doesn't have to even remind you. He's not your alarm clock. Your mind is your alarm clock. Remember in your mind all the time. That is what is the sadhana. Jai Sai Ram. Okay?
Sairam.
Okay,
We will
brother is,
request, first we'll request Brother Ratan to propose a vote of thanks, and then we will go to the closing prayer by Brother Raghu. So, Brother Ratan, over to you, brother.
Thank you, Brother Smart. Offering my most humble pranams and prayerful salutations at the divine lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagavan Shri Satya Sai Baba. My sarams to respected elders and dear brothers and sisters. At the outset, we just would like to place our utmost gratitude to our most beloved Swami for giving us this most opportune time to spend it within his divine ambit, and for always affording us this great blessing and his divine grace of being within his divine love. Firstly, to our most beloved Swami, thank you for all that you do for us, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of this most auspicious occasion of the Atiruddha Mahayagna 2024. Also, gratitude to each and every one of you for participating in this evening's webinar. I think it has been a most wonderful and most insightful webinar for each and every one of us as we lead up to the Yajna for next year. Also, our gratitude to all the panelists for presenting the various different aspects and topics of the Yajna that will take place, and for answering all the multiple questions that you do have. It has been quite a nice evening based on the questions that has come through. So thank you also for the participants for engaging and making this a really wonderful webinar. We thank you, and obviously we are looking forward to future interactions that will take place. Thank you.
So the next one will be December 16th, there where we will discuss the logistics of the training session. Thank you, Brother Raitan, for that, and Samar, then Kabir, and Sister Tara. So before Brother Raghuram chants, I request him also to read the English and then conclude with Jai Bolo Bhagwan Sri Sat Sai Baba.
Bhagwan is the cause, action, doer, doing, the done and the undone. We pray that he allows us and shapes us to be the perfect instruments in his mission. Om Sa Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।
Jai